Good evening, Top fans. It's Bill from Top Fan Rivalry here joining you tonight with some of my friends. We got Viliami and Jackson back, and Dave and Ned and Rob, and we're going to have a fun conversation tonight. And Major League Baseball stadiums, which ones are the best, which ones we visited, which ones could possibly be stood to be torn down. And I think we have a couple of resident Chicago fans on that might have differencing of opinion tonight. So that'll be fun to talk about. So let's just jump right into the action. Viliami, why don't you tell us where you've been, which stadiums you've been to, and we'll circle back around to you about which stadiums you think are the best.
Perfect. So I have been to three stadiums. I've been to Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium, and I've been to Petco. Mm-hmm. I think for me, my most memorable experience, though, with visiting all stadiums was Petco. I say this only because I was at the game where the GOAT, Bartolo Colon, hit his first career home run.
Nice.
And it felt like I was in a World Series game. That's how awesome it was. It was so loud. Stadium was shaking. It probably was just as big as Beastquake. Everything was probably just as loud. But
so the question is did his helmet fall off after he swung?
I don't know. I was just so excited that he hit the ball.
Dave, how about you? Where have you been?
Gosh, I had to make a list. I've been to both of the stadiums in Milwaukee, the old one and the new one, all three in Chicago, the old and the new Comiskey and the one on the north side. San Francisco, I've been to Dodgers, Angels, the Trop, the old Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Washington, and Arizona.
Would it have been easier to say which one you haven't been to?
Yeah, I haven't been to some of the big ones like Yankees or Boston, I haven't been able to get east. And one of the ones I really, really want to go to is Pittsburgh on a day game and just hang out there. It looks like a great stadium.
Yeah.
But the old County Stadium in Milwaukee was a treat. Same with the old Comiskey in Chicago. Busch Stadium, I might have been 10 years old when I was there. I think I was there for one of Hank Aaron's final games.
Nice.
That ought to date me a little bit.
A little.
We're all getting there. Ned, where have you been?
The three in Southern California, Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium, Petco Park. I've been to the old Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta and Turner Field, and been on the exteriors of SunTrust Park and Yankee Stadium when we were in New York last year. And but I do have to say, we'll talk about which stadiums were the worst. But Fulton County was built, in the late '60s, early '70s when they used the park as dual stadiums for football and baseball. And there's a few parks that have been mentioned already, like Busch Stadium that were like that, and a couple others. But we try every year to wherever we go, we try to hit up at least one or two. We had plans this year to do it, but something else ruined that. But I had a plan to hit like 5 of them this year, and that didn't work out. So, but yeah, that's where we've been. I'm trying to think. You're only talking major league. I'm sure you guys could go through and do some minor league parks too, but I'm gonna throw one in here. The funnest one that I've ever been to has actually been on Coney Island, because you look out in left field and there's a roller coaster, and it's kind of like being at a carnival. And you know what? Sitting in the stands as a fan, it's kind of like being at a carnival too. Minor league games are pretty crazy in the sense that the marketing people that try to promote their teams do a great job with that. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. Henry and I had a lot of fun that night.
Sweet. Rob, where have you been?
Like Dave, I had to make a list. I've been to 12.
Oh,
So I've been to Chase Field in Arizona, Coors Field, Colorado, of course Dodger Stadium, Fenway Park. Great experience there. DC, been to Nationals Park, San Francisco, Camden Yards, really pretty stadium. Petco Park in San Diego, Seattle, T-Mobile Park. I went to the old Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That was pretty cool. And then, of course, Wrigley Field, and then, the cathedral of all cathedrals, the old Yankee Stadium.
yes.
So those were all just really, we'll get into a little bit more about some of the reasons why I like some of those old ballparks, but just really neat experience.
Awesome. Thanks. Jackson, where you been?
So I've been to Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium, Petco Park. I've been to the exterior of San Francisco. I believe my dad missed he missed one, I know. It's called Qualcomm now, but I think it was the San Diego State Stadium.
That's right. Jack Murphy. That's right.
Yeah, Jack Murphy Stadium.
Forgot about
when I was
that.
a kid. I've also been to Turner Field when I was a kid, a long time ago. I don't really remember that one. That's about it. My favorite park I've been to is probably Petco. It's really nice. Ocean breeze all game long.
There you go. Well, let's see.
There you are.
There you are. So Ernest Reyes just joined us. Ernest is our resident Dodger fan, a good friend of mine. Ernest, we were just talking about stadiums. Which stadiums have you been to?
Let's see, San Francisco, San Diego, LA. I've been up to Toronto and drove by Camden Yards and, a bunch of places during spring training in Florida. That's about it.
Vero Beach. So awesome. Well, let's see. I've been to.
Beach is my place. I love that place.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been to Petco Park. I've been to Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium. I've been to the minor league field called AT&T Park where the Giants play. I have been on the outside of Safeco Park. I've been to Chase Field. I have been to the old Tiger Stadium, which was a total train wreck. They were playing the Angels when I was there too. The lady was all excited to sell me tickets on the phone. She says, and the Angels are coming in, and I'm like, fantastic. I've been to the new Tiger Stadium. I've been to Comerica. I've been to the new Yankees Stadium. I've been to Fenway. And arguably, I would say the worst ballpark that I've been to is down in Tampa Bay. You cannot see a fly ball during the night or during the day with that white trash can of a dome. And of course, obviously, Chavez Ravine is the best baseball park in America, hands down. But anyways, we've all been there. So now we're going to open it up. Boys, we've said where we've been. Now let's talk about, for the next 20 minutes, what we think the best ballparks are. I know Rob has some feelings on this. So, Rob, I'm going to let you start us off, and you tell us, make your argument, make your case. Dave, please don't be drinking anything while he's saying anything because I don't want it to end up on your screen. So go ahead.
Well, this one is obviously easy for him, but so Wrigley Field is obviously my favorite, and there's a lot of reasons why, because of the history, because I'm a Cubs fan, and there is absolutely nothing like Wrigley Field, and not just Wrigley Field, but Wrigleyville. I mean, you get the whole package when you go and visit the north side. It's if you haven't been there, I don't know how many of you guys, it sounds like none of you guys have except for Dave. But it's just there. It's almost like going back in time and experiencing old time baseball when you go to Wrigley. Now they did a lot of renovations, over the past several years that, which I'm grateful for. I remember before the Ricketts bought the team, I was worried that they were going to do some tearing down or, demolishing, maybe build a bigger stadium. Like, none of that was happening. Or even change the marquee name from Wrigley Field to, a sponsorship, which I'm sure didn't go too well with a lot of people in Chicago. But to me, Wrigley Field is just it is like heaven on earth for me. Yes, it is true that your feet do stick a little bit when you go to the bathroom, but all that's been taken care of for the most part, at least since the last time I've been there. You don't have your troughs there in the bathroom. Maybe you do. It's been a few years since I've been there. 2006.
I was going to ask if they still had troughs there.
I'm pretty sure they still do, actually. But maybe that was part of the renovation. I don't know. But honestly, though, when I think about old Yankee Stadium, and when I think about Fenway Park, I mean, you're literally sitting like this in your box seat, but the exact same aura that you feel at Wrigley Field, you feel at the old Yankee Stadium, and you feel at Fenway Park. There's nothing like these newer parks are great, and I've been to quite a few of them, and I just love the feel of them. But you don't get that reverence that you get when you go to Wrigley and some of these old ballparks. I mean, obviously the two oldest ballparks are Boston's Fenway Park and Wrigley Field. Those are really the only places that you can kind of feel that throwback to, some of these great players of yesterday. The third oldest place, you probably know. Yeah.
It's the Ravine
Stadium, the Ravine.
Right.
So anyway, for me, a lot of it is the history, and I absolutely love the history of the game. And so Wrigley Field and Fenway Park, now the only two standing, I still get that from those places. I don't get that in other places like I do those places. I am still so upset at the Yankees for tearing down old Yankee Stadium. I'll never understand that.
In full confession, Pete, I forgot to mention I've been outside of Wrigley. I was there about 10 years ago for a client meeting, and my client pushed me back 3 hours, and I remembered the line from the Blues Brothers. I falsified my renewal. I put 1060 West Addison. So I put that in my GPS system, and off I went, Wrigley Field. And you're right, there's kind of like Yankee Stadium. If you guys haven't been outside of new Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium was still in existence when I was there. But if you haven't been outside there, there's an aura of baseball around it. And that's kind of what Pete's describing. I've seen it. I mean, every direction that you turn by the stadium there's just Cubs stuff everywhere, baseball stuff everywhere. And so,
look, and during the World Series, really quick, during the World Series in 2016, we're down 3-1 going into Game 5, and you still felt that magical feeling that is felt outside of the friendly confines. It's hard to describe it if you're not like a diehard Cubs fan, but it's just one of those places where I feel a lot of reverence for. Special place.
Awesome. Mr. Schaefer, I'm going to let you mention. We're on the edge of our seats now.
I was being nice. I let him say everything he needed to say. Growing up in Chicago, living there for 40 years, there's a rule in Chicago. It's probably the same in LA. It's probably the same in New York. You like one team or the other. If you say you like them both, you're a liar. You're not really from that city. So I've been a White Sox fan since I could figure out what baseball was. All my buddies were White Sox fans. My dad's a Cub fan, diehard. We have battles all the time. I've been told, and I've told every joke and every insult there is. So I've been to Wrigley. Obviously, it's been a long time, and I've told Bill this before. I'll never talk anybody out of going there, but I do think once is enough. At least it is for me. it's all changed up there now. I don't even know what kind of renovations they've done. But, he makes a good point that, these newer parks, you don't get that feeling of what baseball, where it came from, and some of those old legendary players that played. And that's one of my knocks on Arizona is when they close that roof, it's like watching a baseball game in a shopping mall. And, it's a good stadium, but it does feel like you're in a shopping mall, and that's not a great feeling when you're trying to watch a baseball game. And in the newer parks, you've got all the sideshows going on to keep people's attention, because for whatever reason, they don't want to sit and watch the game. So you've got all the beer gardens and restaurants and all this other stuff going on that divide your attention, which I'm not crazy about. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that the stadiums on the other side of Chicago are any better. They're not. The new one, the one they're in now, gets a lot of knocks unfairly. It's a good stadium. It's a great place to watch a game. There's not a lot to do around the stadium is, I think, the biggest detraction from it. Having said all that, from the ones I've been to, I like San Francisco, and I really like Dodger Stadium. I really enjoyed my games there, and got the opportunity one time to sit in the scout section and rub elbows with Tommy Lasorda and those guys down there, and I thought that was fantastic. So those would be my votes, and I'm going to agree with you that the Trop in Tampa should probably be bulldozed. It's terrible. I go there just because I've got relatives there, and it's easy to go catch a game, but it's really bad.
It is. It is. Ernest, what do you think? What's your top stadium? And you can add Vero Beach in there too. I know you used to go to Vero Beach a lot. So where do you like catching a game?
I'm partial to Dodger Stadium for obvious reasons. I would say that I had Camden Yards, walk around the stadium. It's a very open format, so you can look into the stadium when you're outside on the street, and that place is beautiful. I wanted to go see a game there, and I wish I had the opportunity. But it's a gorgeous stadium. Vero Beach is it's like watching a little league game with major league players. It was just fantastic. You can just reach out and touch the players. The dugouts are fantastic. You got a little low-cut wire fence between the players and the fans, and it's like watching a little league game. It's one of my favorite places to see a game is at Vero Beach. I'll say that in terms of the worst stadium was Toronto. You're talking about it being a mall. Imagine watching a game in a mall with artificial grass. It was horrible. It was not baseball. It was something entirely different.
Oh man, I've never been to Toronto. Now I don't necessarily know that I want to run up and go there.
Well, they're going to tear down the stadium now because they're building a new one, so you might not get the chance.
Oh,
they'll make it a mall.
That place should be torn down.
V, tell us your favorite stadium.
Well, my favorite one is obviously Angel Stadium because that's my team. I grew up going to Angel games. We would go maybe during the season. We'd probably try to catch at least 2 games a week. It's just nice having the stadium not even 40 minutes from where you live. You can hop on the train and just go. It's a cool stadium. I like it. Obviously because it's close, but it's just open. It's a nice open area. You have, I remember sitting at home when I was younger, back in 2002, watching the Angels on top of the mountain, and just going there every time and just looking out in the field and imagining that final catch for the 2002 World Series. Just every time you go, that's where I always look, just out in the dugout or out in the outfield. It has like a weird feeling to it. Like I feel like anytime you go into a baseball stadium, you just get chills. It's just something unique. Not a lot of people outside of sports fans really understand that. I feel like if you're a diehard football fan, you go to your favorite team's stadium, and it's just same thing, goosebumps. But I get it every time I go to Angel Stadium. I get it when I get it overall, and I go to every stadium I've been to. I did fail to mention before when I was mentioning stadiums I've been to. I have been to Coors Field, and I have been to where the Marlins play. They didn't have the big attraction in the outfield. I think that thing was hideous. But that stadium's kind of cool though. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. But it's a cool stadium. It's very big and open. But yeah,
Are there any fans there?
It's the best one.
That's what was it, AJ Pollock this year, Ernest? Was it AJ Pollock? When they said they asked him what's it going to be like playing without fans, he's like, I played in Arizona, I know what it's like to play without fans.
Was it Arizona or Florida that he said?
He said Florida, but it reminded me of AJ Pollock's quote.
Oh yeah. That must be what it's like being a Marlin.
There you go. All 1,500 people show up for the game. Jackson.
All right. I mean, I'm still young. I haven't been to a ton of stadiums. Like I said, I really like Petco Park. Usually head down when the Braves are in town. And there's an obscene amount of Braves fans in San Diego, by the way. It's actually kind of funny how many Braves fans just pack in. It's probably one of their more filled games of the season, along with the Dodgers and the Giants. You get like just tons of away fans, but Petco's nice. To Viliami's point, it has a little tram that can drop you off. If not, you can try and find parking downtown. That's really my only knock against it, but it's like right there. It's right next to the pier. Got that ocean air. There's a ton to do in downtown San Diego. I think it's a great spot for a stadium. And at night, it's got the nice city backdrop. Looks really good. And it's got that nice building out in left field, the Western Metal Supply Company building, which I think is a pretty cool concept for setting seats up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only thing that I have with Petco is, to me, for those of you that have been there, maybe you understand this. To me, it always feels dark because I'm used to the lights going like this at Angel Stadium and Dodger Stadium. And at Petco, they go north to south, not east to west. And to me, the stadium always seems dark. It's a weird feeling. But I agree with you. That's a great stadium.
I agree with you on that one, Bill. It's weird when the lights get turned on. It's like what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just kind of the first time I was down there, it's a gorgeous stadium, and I agree with Jackson, man. That backdrop and everything like that, but it's very modern. When it comes to stadiums, I'm with Pete. I had a sense of reverence that when I went to Fenway, there's just a different feel there because the history's there. Think of who played there. Babe Ruth played there. I mean, Lou Gehrig played there. Mickey Mantle played there. Just these people that we only read about now, and you don't get that same feeling when you're going to a Chase Field. Like Dave said, when they close that roof, you feel like you're at. For those of you that are in South or Orange County, you'll understand this reference, but you feel like you're at South Coast Plaza. But there's baseball players running around. So, Ned, where's your favorite?
The ones that I've stepped foot into, Petco Park, like we've been talking about, it's probably the nicest from a view standpoint. My knock though on Dodger Stadium is the parking. What's the deal with getting in and out of that place? It takes you an hour and a half to get there and an hour and a half to get out. How can you guys say that that's the best ballpark in the majors? Come on, guys. There's one way in and one way out. So
here we go. Every Braves fan still got to be upset about this last year.
Holy cow! Seriously. When I went to Turner Field was nice before they tore it down. That actually was the Olympic Stadium
Mm.
And they had the torch outside the stadium, which was pretty cool. We got a few pictures with Jackson's brother next to the torch and stuff. So it was kind of fun. But I think for me, the whole thing about stadiums is fact actually just, oh yeah, and the picture of Hank Aaron with Jackson and Calvin standing next to Hank Aaron's 715 home run ball. They have that in the parking lot across the street from Turner Field. They had that, but for me, I think it's just the history and it's the memories you make with those that you go with to the games. Like, Jackson and I have been to several games at Anaheim Stadium, and it's funny, because all these years, the kids will remember something that I may not remember. They're like, "Oh yeah, remember this game?" And Jackson, you guys brought this up last time when JB Shuck robbed Jose Batista's home run. Remember that? You're bringing that up. Remember that?
Yeah.
You remember where you were sitting?
We were sitting upper deck. Were we not?
Yeah, we were upper deck, baby. That's where we were. But it's kind of stuff like that. And I think it's just the memories that you make. Jackson and I have a memory of Petco Park by buying nosebleeds as Braves fans, and then getting upgraded by the pod squad. They gave us tickets to go sit 10 seats behind the dugout. It was great. Other memories. Phil Niekro's last game as a pitcher as a Brave at the old Fulton County Stadium. That was kind of nice. He was like, I think 67 years old when he threw his last pitch or something. But I can totally remember that. I had it's like 4 or 5 rows behind the dugout, and could see him walking off the field and stuff like that. Just memories of that. Oh, I do have a memory though of a Dodger. You want to hear this memory? Bob Welsh. That guy wasn't very nice. I asked for an autograph and he said no. So I don't really like him now. I was a kid. I was like 8 years old. I'm like, dude, can I even get an autograph? He's like, no. So, stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I just think it's the memories that you make with, with the people that you go with. And, that's the fun, that's the pageantry of this game. And Billy, I kind of disagree with you about football, because there really aren't any iconic football stadiums left. The only one would be Lambeau Field, right? Maybe Soldier Field in Chicago, but you just have a different, we've all said this already, you just have a different feel about when you do go to the ballpark, just a different aura, and you just get excited, and you kind of take yourself away from what's going on in life for the next 3 hours and just sit there and just kind of enjoy yourself. But it's like Billy Amy said, it's fun living in a place where you've got a state from you, and you can go catch a game. But I mentioned this last week. My kids got me this passport book right here. That's a little plug right here, but it's got pictures of all the fields and stuff like that. It's got all the details. Oh, I just happened to open up to Wrigley Field.
Look at that.
Tells you how much it was approximate cost. You know how much it cost to build Wrigley Field in 1914?
Probably
$250,000. That's all it cost in 1914. Anyway, gives you seating capacity, playing surface, stuff like that, and kind of gives you game day memories. Anyway, this is a little, it's a nice little thing. So it's fun because you actually go to the stadium, and you have like a passport, and they punch your ticket there. So so that's how you get these memories here.
That's cool.
So when I got my Dodger one, that was when they played the Braves back in October 2018. Henry and I went. That was fun.
Awesome.
Anyway,
it's
cool. Yeah, go ahead.
That's awesome. I remember, obviously Angel Stadium's close. I've been to Angel Stadium a 1,000 times. I can tell you how to get in and out of that stadium from every nook and cranny. Back when I was playing high school baseball, if we won on Tuesdays, we didn't have practice on Wednesday. So we got out of school at like 1 o'clock, and that was the Angels getaway day. Back then, when they were playing, it would be a Wednesday getaway day. They'd fly Wednesday afternoon, but if they had a home game. So we'd go to the game for $1, sit up in the nosebleeds. By the end of the game, we were sitting behind the dugout or something. It was a lot of fun. my first memory at Dodger Stadium was going to the Freeway Series against the Angels in 1981. And I remember I've been to almost every nook and cranny of Dodger Stadium too. For me, it's the history. Like Rob mentioned, it's just the history. It's nostalgic. I have to tell you, one of the funniest memories now as an adult, being married for over 20 years, one of my funniest memories happened at Angel Stadium. My stepdad wanted to take me to a baseball game. It was a school night. My mother said, no, you can't go. Well, my dad took me anyways. She was working late and he took me anyways. The game went into extra innings and I begged him to stay. And I remember this was in the 80s. I remember Don Baylor hitting a single between shortstop and second, or between third base and shortstop to win the game. And it was like 16 innings long. We didn't get home until like midnight. And I was 7 or 8, 9 years old, something like that. I didn't understand why I woke up the next morning and my dad was sleeping on the couch. As I was, getting up to go to school, I had no idea what that meant. Now being married, I understand why dad was on the couch, because mom said, no, you can't go. Dad said, sure, we're going to go. And we didn't get home till like midnight. So on a school night. So I learned a very valuable lesson. It made me very grateful for my stepfather for enduring the couch for a couple of nights. Fellas, this has been so much fun. We're going to wrap it up in about 3 minutes. I'm going to give everybody 45 seconds to tell me one more thing about the stadium that you like. We're going to start with Viliami, and we're going to keep this going. So, Viliami, you got 45 seconds. You're on the clock. Tell me about Anaheim Stadium.
Great food, great people. The food is mainly what's good. The team's subpar. I love them, but they're subpar. We've been undefeated in October for a couple of years now. I don't think anyone's gonna beat that record. We have a new GM, so let's see how it goes. Apparently, you trade 3 pitchers to get a pitcher and a shortstop. Apparently, that's what we need. He thinks that's what we need, but I don't know. I think he needs to rethink those trades.
Does anybody else think it's funny that I said to Viliami, tell me about your stadium, and he says great food 3 times in one sentence? Anybody else think that's funny? That's great. Thanks, Viliami. Let's all go to Anaheim Stadium now and catch the food.
I got you for food reviews.
There you
Helmet
go.
nachos.
There.
Great.
Dave, go ahead. You're on mute. There you go.
I will just you guys are going to talk plenty about Dodger Stadium. I don't need to talk about that. I'll just talk about Arizona. And, when that roof is open, it's really bizarre how it changes the game and really changes the attitude of the fans when it's a nice crisp evening or something and they open that roof. The ball travels further. It's really a lot more fun. The other thing I'll mention is that we've obviously got spring training here, and I've been to every spring training field in the Phoenix area, even a couple down in Tucson. And hopefully this virus clears up, and hopefully you guys can see your way clear to come out and catch some spring training games. I think all the fields are fantastic. Spring training is just different. You're so much closer to the field, closer to the players. You get to see guys that are trying to, fight for their lives on these rosters and really make a name for themselves. It's just a ton of fun. I'm sure the same for Florida, but in Phoenix, you can get one hotel and have a central place and catch, a different game every day and not drive too far. My personal favorite is Camelback Ranch because the White Sox are there, but they're all really good.
And if you ever get out to Anaheim Stadium again, the food's really good. Just ask Viliami. Thanks, Dave. Ned, 45 seconds.
Wow, what I like, I said Petco was my favorite. That's the favorite one I've been to, but I want to try to get to Fenway and Wrigley and the new Comiskey and all that just to kind of compare it because haven't had enough to really see what's out there. I know not to go to Sky Dome or Rogers Center, whatever that's called in Toronto, so I won't. passport for that.
It was unnatural, that game there.
But you know, I'm just excited that let's let this virus clear up so we can start planning some more trips and starting getting out there and just kind of see a little bit more. I'd like to see PNC Park PNC Park in Pittsburgh is nice, right? And then San Francisco too. We've been on the exterior a couple of times, but never been in. But that's the fun. That's the fun of this game is that every environment's a little bit different, but that's what makes it great.
Well, and you bring up a good point. I hope that this thing clears up so that next year when we're doing this in December, we can list off more stadiums that we've been to and tried more food at different stadiums to report back to Viliami on the food. Right? Ernest, what are you going to say about Dodger Stadium?
Well, I love Dodger Stadium, but you know, I kind of want to talk about Vero Beach Stadium in Dodgertown, or Old Dodgertown.
Go for
it. There's been a lot of talk about the history with Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, and you know, Holman Stadium in Vero Beach is almost in the same way, but instead of looking at the past greats of the game, you know, I kind of saw Vero Beach as sort of taking fans back to what it was like to be a child watching the game. And, you know, like I said, like I was saying earlier, you have, you know, basically a Little League field with a feel of a Little League stadium with Major League players. And it just, you know, for me, every time I went there, I felt like a kid again. I felt like I was watching a Little League game, and it was just wonderful. And everything was just so low key, and the food was just the same type of food you would buy at a Little League field when you're playing a game. You know, just hot dogs and a can of Coke, and that was it. You know, no special bells and whistles, just a normal, regular Little League field with Major League ball players. And I just really love that place. And I still hate the fact that the Dodgers moved out of there.
Me too.
I want so badly to see a Dodger game there again.
Maybe we can make that happen. Ernest brings up a good point. I hate going to a stadium and finding like Panda Express and stuff that just doesn't feel like baseball. You want peanuts, you want Cracker Jacks, you want hot dogs, you want all the stuff that your cardiologist doesn't want you to have, but that's what you want. You don't want like some gourmet sushi, right? So Jackson and then Pete, and then I'll wrap up. Go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, Petco Park. Okay. By the beach. Has a giant statue of arguably one of the greatest hitters of all time, Tony Gwynn, out in the outfield.
Don't forget about the beach in right field.
I thought they took that out. That's still there. Must not have noticed the last time I was there last summer, but yeah, I've sat up in the nosebleeds up all around. I sat the second deck in left field the last time I went last summer with my wife to catch a Giants-Padres game. And the nice thing about a modern stadium is there's not really a bad place to sit. That's what I really like about Petco. Padres fans usually aren't very belligerent either if you're rooting for the other team, which is also really nice. Cannot say the same for Dodger Stadium.
Easy.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
But yeah, I will take a stab at Dodger Stadium and say one of the best baseball games I've ever seen played was at Dodger Stadium, and the Dodgers didn't play. It was Team USA against Team Japan in the World Baseball Classic of 2017.
Nice. Yeah, agreed. Pete, take us home, and I'll wrap us up.
All right, so I want to give a quick shout out to, let's see, back then it was Chase Field. Is it still Chase Field, Arizona?
Yes, it was. It was the Bank One ballpark. It was the Bob.
Yeah, it was the Bob, and it's still Chase, though, isn't it? So I lived out there in 2004 to 2006 for 2 years, and I probably saw 30 to 40 games. There's something pretty special. So as far as new ballparks, Chase Field is probably my favorite, just because I spent a lot of time there. And so there's a lot of that history that resonates with me. But and then also Sloan Field, we're talking about, spring training and top of the notch facilities down there. It's Wrigley Field Jr., but Going back to Wrigley Field, you know, if you were to look at my Cubs room upstairs and even my office, I've got, you know, sod from Wrigley, third base from Wrigley, and you know, you got the brick and the old bleachers that used to hang out in center field, and you know, flags from Wrigley. So what's so special about Wrigley Field, I'll never forget the first time I walked in and I walk up the first steps behind home plate and I saw the whole view of Wrigley Field with the ivy and the brick, the scoreboard, the flags everywhere, the smell. That's what it was all about, was just that smell. And you could feel it. And I'll be honest, I cried when I first saw it because it was just that spectacular. And so, you know, for me, Wrigley Field, you think about all the history, but you think about what makes that history so great. And it's all these little things that have gone throughout the years that have evolved with the scoreboard and everything else. You just can't beat it. If you haven't been there, guys, I encourage every single one of you to go and just experience it. I promise you, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's a great place.
How's the food?
You know what? Their hot dogs are very poorly. I mean, I thought I was going to get a nice Chicago dog. It was like this big. Ketchup and mustard.
Does it taste better than a Dodger dog?
You know what? I would say no. But because Perk Dog is on here, I'm going to say yes. Chicago dogs are so much better.
Listen, Rob, if it makes you feel better, and Dave, if it makes you feel better, I introduced Billy Ami in Buena Park to Portillo's. So.
Oh, man.
So great.
Portillo's, man. Good stuff.
Exactly.
See, and that's what they need to sell at the ballpark. Like, give us a Portillo dog, and we'd be happy. Even a Portillo chocolate, a piece of chocolate cake, the best.
Chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake shake. Well, boys, this has been so much fun. Next week, for Utah fans that are watching this, next week we're going to be discussing free agency, where people have gone, trades. You heard a little bit about it tonight, but this has been fantastic discussion. More to come on these stadiums, and as you've heard, if you've been watching this, as you heard, there's a lot of great ballparks out there to take a look at, and each one is a little different. I'm partial, like Rob is, to history. So I love Dodger Stadium. I love thinking that Sandy Koufax pitched off that mound, that I'm watching arguably one of the greatest pitchers in the last 50 years pitch right now in Clayton Kershaw, and watching, you know, the tail end of what his career will be like. And soon, I enjoyed that minor league ballpark called AT&T. There's not a real team really that plays there. The Giants, they're not really a real team, right? But being a Dodger fan, I can say that. But I would encourage everybody to visit these stadiums, enjoy America's favorite pastime, especially as we're coming out of this crazy year. Spend some time at a ballpark, develop some, whether it's father and sons or just brother and brother relationships at a ballpark. There's nothing better than that. So for all of you top fans, we appreciate you watching this. Thank you so much to everybody that participated, Ernest and Ned and Rob and Jackson and Dave. We sure do appreciate you, and we are grateful for you, and you guys have a great time now.